And welcome. There we are. Hello and welcome to the first paint-along we've had in absolutely ages. So it's a little bit late. Sorry about that. I had a message about moderation. So I don't know what I've been up to in my while I've been away. But there you go. I can see there's one person in the chat. Hello. Oh, hang on. I better turn off. I know. Hang on. Sorry. There we are. So today what I thought we would have a look at is I've got some British Light Dragoons that need doing. Those are the guys you can see on the painting station here. So we'll be cracking on with these today. These are part of a newish project, which is going to be my Egyptian campaign. So I'm doing it under skirmish level for now. I've got some mid-war French lights as well. I'll be doing those. The idea is that hopefully in the first quarter of this year, I'll be able to release at least a beta set of rules for something I've talked about quite a lot, which is Lord of the Sharp. This year, I'm going to be focusing on getting 3 or 4, or maybe 5 or 6 small armies together for doing skirmish level games. But we'll see. We'll see how that goes. These things always change. Morning, guys. Triple Crown Wargaming there in the chat. If you are a Warhammer player, as you know I am, or you're a fan of anything Warhammer, go and check those guys out. They're very, very good. It's a lot of competitive fantasy content, but they do non-competitive stuff as well, if that's not necessarily your jam, although that is the focus of it, I'm not going to lie. Morning, Fiegel. Happy New Year to you as well, my friend. Thank you, Triple Crown, as well. Right, now, what I thought I'd do first off, and I kind of teased it, is I thought we'd take a quick look at a quick unboxing of the British Highlanders and Riflemen. Let's see if I can get it in the screen there. There we are. British Highlanders and Riflemen from Black Powder. Now, I've actually started printing Russians at this scale. Russians in greatcoats I've started off with. But I went down to Warlord HQ a few weeks ago, me and my brother, and I picked this set up while I was there because I thought, because you don't have that many Highlanders, it's probably not necessarily a file that's worth buying for printing. Whereas if it was something like French line and greatcoats, which is one of the ones that they do, then that probably is, because you're going to have gazillions of those. But let's have a look. So we'll get that wrapper off. This was $26.50. So I would have got 10% off if I'd ordered it from the Outpost. So silly me. But there we go. So what did we get inside? Ooh, there we go. Left nothing in the box. So we get 3 identical sprues. And then we get 3 sprues of bases. So they're all the same. So bases, yeah, I mean, they look very good. I like the fact that they're clip-in. I think that's handy. Yeah, there's not really much to say about them, is there, really? They're reasonably solid. A little bit softer than I would like. But I'm actually not going to use these to base my figures with, because I like to have a bit out the front as well. So you've got your 2 lines of troops, but then I want it to extend out here and have some skirmishes or some casualties or something like that on there, just to give the unit a bit more depth and just to make it look a bit cooler, really. So they're the bases, right? So now that's them. Let's get rid of that. Who packed mine? Mirela. Thank you very much, Mirela. You did a grand job. So we've got, let's see, now we've got 1 mounted Highland officer, and that's this chappie up here. Now let me see if I can get the camera to focus in on him. I'm trying to avoid the too much direct sunlight. It was raining here all morning. Now the sun's decided to come out. So that's quite a nice model. He's got his bonnet on. So let me just get that in the camera. There we are. He's got his bonnet on with a plume falling down there. Horse is quite a nice pose. You get 3 the same, which is a bit of a shame, but yeah, that's fair enough. It is what it is. For the artillery piece next to him, this is a howitzer. I think it's a 5.5-inch howitzer, so you can use that for a foot battery. Or if you want to go for a 2-gun battery, you could have 1 cannon, 1 howitzer, or however it is you want to do it. This is the thing that I'm most interested in. I think a lot of people are interested, and that is individual skirmishing riflemen. There was a lot of complaints when the riflemen came out in the box that they were all formed infantry. They were all formed up like these guys. But at Waterloo, they did actually fight as a formed unit, as well as fighting in the sandpit and doing all that sort of skirmishy goodness. So I think it's good that you get the singles here. 2, 4, 6, 8. There's only 8 per sprue, so that's 24 in the box. Now, you're probably going to want to do tiny units of them anyway. So I think 8 is probably about right per sprue. You can do, I mean, if you had 6 then, you could do 4 units of 6, I suppose, but they might be a little bit thin on the ground there. Well, I don't know, actually, 6 represent 120 men. So that would be an oversized company or 2 probably field strength companies. So maybe you could get away with that. Or possibly even just have 4. 4 could do it as well. And then you get yourself 6 units of 4. And they'd represent 80 men each. So, yeah, no, that's not too bad at all. Right, let's have a look at the main part of the box. So we've got the... well, let's just do a sprue of line infantry first. Or about Highland infantry. So you've got... It looks to me like... they're all individual poses, I think. This one and this one are probably the same. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I think it's probably 5 poses then. But yeah, no, they're looking nice. One of the things I do like about them, I'm not sure if the camera is picking this up, is there's a little ridge here on the socks where the socks get turned over. Now that's going to be to have the X's painted on them. I'm not sure I'm going to be doing that. I think I might do a bit more of an impressionist view of those and just do a red slash or something like that on there. And we've got the command here. Now this is an interesting one. We've got the officers wearing trousers, which is as it should be. We've got a piper. We've got colour sergeant there. And then we've got the 5 regular dudes as well. So this is really nice. They've all got the bonnets on. You could potentially have had the odd officer with a bike or with a shako, but I'm not sure if at Waterloo they all wore bonnets. They probably did. Waterloo's not my most specialist one. Let me just check the artillery. Is it classed as horse artillery? No, they are Royal Artillery. Yeah. Oh yeah, of course they are, because they've got the shakos on. So yeah, no, there you go. That's a sprue. You get 3 of those. Not bad at all. Let me excuse me for 2 seconds. I'll see if I can find the unit I've painted. I think I know where it is. Hang on. Aha, I do know where it is. So I've got it here. Let's have a look. Let me pop it over here. So this is one I was talking about, how I'm not going to be using the bases. I'm going to base them myself. I've used an MDF base here, which is, I believe it's 60 mil by 40. Let me, I had a tape measure a second ago. There we are. Yeah, so it's 40 deep and 60 wide. And what that enables me to do is have all this patch out here, out the front. And there I can put maybe some casualties on there, or some equipment, or maybe just base it. They're a bit dusty, so let me just blow them off. But this is how they paint up. I've done these as a yellow battalion, so these are probably going to be 24th of foot, something like that. But I think they paint up really nicely. There's a lot of raised detail on them. And I think they look absolutely fantastic as a unit. Let me get them. Oh, I keep saying fantastic. I've been watching a YouTube channel called Shadow Wraith. He does a lot of Lord of the Rings content. And he says everything. Oh, that's fantastic. I found myself saying it a lot more. So that's a unit lined up. There's only 3 bases there. There's 2 more in the box. But I think that gives you the basic idea. And as I say, you can have them on the front. You'll be able to have a couple of riflemen just out in front of the unit. And they'll be able to crack on like that. So, yeah, so that's the plan with them. I don't know if they're certainly not going to be moved to the top of the painting pile. As I say, I've got some Russians on the go at the moment as well. Here's the artillery piece. That's not finished. But I still need to do the buttons and the touching up there. But, yeah, no, overall, really, really impressed with the Warlord epic stuff. I should really have brought up some of my my printed Russians, but they're downstairs, unfortunately. But what I want to talk about today, just as a bit of a topic to get us started off, is what are you looking forward to starting in 2023? And by starting, doesn't necessarily mean starting from scratch. Are you going to be finishing off a project? Are you going to be starting a new aspect of the Napoleonic Wars? Are you going to be starting a new period altogether? Myself and the guys up in Morpeth, we are currently deep into looking at some Spanish 12th century stuff. 10th and 12th century, 1094. So what about you guys? What are you guys going to be up to this year? Let's have a look at the comments. Happy New Year, FEETs. Same to you, my friend. Vaughan B, Happy New Year to you. Thank you. And Dan, I'll say this now. I'm happy to play epic scale, but you're painting. Well, you don't paint your 28mm ones anyway. Oh, you went there. So what I'm going to start off with is the Light Dragoons. Now, I've brought up a dark blue, but I'm actually going to disappear again. As you can tell, I mean, the professionalism never starts here, does it? I'm going to disappear. I'm going to be back again in 2 minutes. I'm going to grab a medium blue. This is too dark. And I'll also grab the epic scale Russians while I'm down there. So give me 2 minutes. Talk amongst yourselves. Right, so I got the medium blue, a bit of ultramarine blue. Is there anything the ultramarines can't do? There we are. Vaughan is going to be giving the silver bayonet a go. That's cool. My brother bought me that for my birthday, actually. I'm looking forward to getting into that myself. Right, so I've also brought up the Russian epic scale stuff I got. So this was a file I bought off 3D Wargaming. Let's see if I can get the camera to focus. Nope. Now you can see the ones that I've not done the straps of yet. That's these guys here. This is all using contrast paint, so nothing too spectacular. But once you've added the white straps on there, I think it really does bring them off quite nicely. It's a shame that this camera is terrible at focusing in on small things. Let me see if that'll help. No, not really. But no, so those are the Russians. I think they're going to look quite nice. Now, one of the problems that we're going to have is they come in strips of 5, not strips of 10. So I have to put them together. But they're roughly the same height, I think. So that's a good point, that one, Benedict. Yeah, it's got to be better. Oh, those are the riflemen. They still need quite a bit of work doing as well. That's a good point. Still, I don't know. Can it be worse than 2022? I think 2022 was worse than the COVID years, I think. Right, I should have also mentioned these as well. I just skipped straight past these. Now, this is your sheet of flags. Now, it looks like the British that I've painted, those were free with Wargaming Illustrated, so I don't have a box of them, but it looks like this is just a generic flag sheet. You've got the Gordons, so they're a specific Scottish regiment, but you've got things like the Landwehr, some Hanoverian troops, Black Watch there. No, sorry, that's the Black Watch there. So they're the Scottish regiment as well. To be honest, the reproduction on these is not great. No, that's not great at all. I might look at maybe getting some specific ones. I'm sure there'll be a manufacturer that does them. What we got on this side? We got the 4th Kings. That's the important one. Best regiment in the army. Then we've got the 33rd. Yeah, 2nd Battalion, 33rd down here. There's the King O's, Royal Scots. So, do we have the Scots Guards? for no particular reason. Anyone who's seen the Advent Calendar Challenge? So speaking of which, today I'm going to extend it to today. Today is going to be the absolute last day to get your answers in for the Advent Calendar Challenge. You could win yourself one of the larger boxes, so not this one, one of the larger boxes of either British, French, or Prussians, depending on whichever one you want, and or the Waterloo starter set. So if you want to do 28mm, you can do that one. If you want to try the new Epic scale, then you can try that as well. You need the answers to the Napoleonic Wargamer at gmail.com, and then I'll be drawing them at random. I'll probably do it next weekend, but I'm going to need this week to go through them all and check the answers. So that's why I need to get them in early. Now, what I'm also going to do is I'm going to clip a base off and use that as a palette. I just found these bases here. I don't know where they've come from, but they are 20mm by 40mm, which is what I base my 1/300 scale tanks on. So that's an absolutely awesome find. I've just bought a load for use to paint up for Gulf War as well. So that's the first Gulf War. So that's awesome. Right, okay, so anyway, let's get on to some dragoons. Let's have a quick read of the chat. Fetherus. There we go. Sorry, mate. I spent the last few days trying to finish my Württemberger figures from Piano Wargames. I still have a way to go. Oh, yes, mate. I started this year doing those, and I've still got a way to go. But that's because I keep printing them because they're so nice. I'm working on the guard at some point. I've got all the... So I've got the guard to basically to this point. All the black's done, and all the white's been washed down. But I just need to go from there. So, no, the Württembergers are really nice. I was trying to get them done before the new one starts. But I don't think that's going to happen. I must be honest. Right, so here we go. This painting here, this is the first painting. So I should thank you guys for this, because I probably would have put it off had I not been doing this live stream. I went to a Lord of the Rings event at the start of December. I had quite a bit of painting to do for that. I had to paint a Mummak and some more Haradrim. So I did quite a bit of painting then. And then I think that was the 6th of December. Was that event, and I haven't even touched a figure with a brush since then. So that's quite a long time for me. I find painting is a really good way to de-stress, and I've not had a chance to do it, and I'm not going to lie, I've been a little bit stressed in this run up to Christmas. So I'm not saying that the two are completely related, but I very much doubt that they're unrelated. There we go. So I'm using Ultramarines Blue for this one. It's a Games Workshop contrast paint. I've not tried the new speed paints yet from... is it Army Painter that do the speed paints? And I believe that Vallejo do a range, the equivalent as well. I've not tried those yet. Basically, because Games Workshop came up with them first, I sort of got quite heavily into them with Games Workshop. And I just, yeah, I'm just not looked back really. But let me know if you use the Vallejo ones or the Army Painter ones, what you think. I'm sure there'll be ones that are better than Games Workshop ones. And I'm sure there'll be ones that aren't as good as the Games Workshop ones. Hello, Conradson. Hello. Good afternoon. I'm printing off some more Württembergers. You know, I was going to put on a print before I started the this live stream, but I thought, no, I better not, because you'll be able to hear it in the background. So I thought we'll keep it nice and chill today. I might need to put the heater on later, which is going to cause enough noise as it is. We don't need the printer going as well. Piano painting a lot of Lord of the Rings at the moment too. Oh, cool. What are you painting, buddy? I've just started gluing together my 2023 Lord of the Rings army, which are going to be Easterlings. I never used to be into the bad guys, but I seem to be drifting more that way at the moment. I think for competitive-wise, there's less... Yeah, if I'm going to take Gondor, I want to take Aragorn, and I want to take Gandalf, and I want to take Boromir. And, you know, they're all very good, but having them all in an army is a bit much. So that's why I think, whereas in Evil, I don't necessarily have that wish to. But yeah, I am working on Lord of the Sharp. So hopefully that'll be in a way that we can play test it in, I don't know, maybe March time. Happy New Year, John Clark. Happy New Year, Lucas. Great to see you back live streaming. Can't wait to see the guards. Well, I don't know. My printing skills are rudimentary, so I don't know. But no, they've certainly printed off pretty well. As I always say with painting any printed models, the mistakes are almost certainly mine, not the original designers. It's an art that I haven't mastered, but I don't particularly want to, if I'm honest. I just want to get to a stage where I can just bang the figures out and start painting them. I'm hoping one day that they're going to bring out a printer that paints your models for you as well. That would be amazing. Imrahil von Dol Amroth. I'm painting fiefdoms at the moment. Well, I would hope so. With a name like that, I should hope that you are. Most of them are for the fiefdoms without rules. Pinasca. Oh, okay. Are you planning on using rules for them, or are you just going to make some up yourself? I think either is equally valid. No, I've got into his. No, I haven't got into trousers there. That's not so bad. So it looks like there's quite a lot of Lord of the Rings in the chat going on at the moment. Standard Gondor soldiers and Brohan rules. Oh, okay, yeah, no, that makes sense. Yeah. I mean, Imrahil's pretty spicy himself. I got what's his name? Forlong the Fat the other week, actually. He's pretty strong. I do also quite fancy doing a Gondor army. That would be mostly sort of based around the Fountain Court Guard. So I have Denethor, Faramir, all that kind of good stuff. Now, I can't remember off the top of my head what colour their collars are. So, as I've got the blue out, I'm going to do them now. I think the piping is blue, and I think the actual collar itself are the facings colour. Now, I'm not sure what colour I'm going to do the facings on these yet. Possibly yellow. I think they did have white facings on a couple of regiments as well. But as it stands at the moment, I'm just going to do them blue like that, and it makes sure that we do we get everything done. Look at this guy firing his carbine. These are Perry dismounted dragoons. These guys. He's a lovely. He's a guy just cocking his pistol. He is a bugler, so he's probably in reverse colours, which is why I'm studiously ignoring him. This guy he's a bit of an oddity. He's got a Mirliton on with like a carrot plume, which makes you think he's probably not British. He might be a Brunswicker or something like that. I'm not 100% sure about him, so I'm going to leave him to one side, and we'll crack on with the rest. Just killed an army of Eastlings with Imrahil and Aragorn. Yeah, I'm not surprised. Eastlings are not great. Did he have the Dragon Emperor? I've just got him as well, but I've not even got him out the box yet. I'm not going to lie. Corazon, happy 2023. I'm not sure if I've said that. I hope everyone had a good New Year's Eve. I'll be honest with you. We went out reasonably early. We went out about 3:30. And we got back. I was falling asleep. And then I think I was actually in bed asleep before they'd finished Old Lang Syne. I was, yeah. If they had like New Year's Eve at 10 o'clock, I'd be all about it. But 12 o'clock's it's just too late for me now. I'm too old for this kind of thing. Happy New Year, Antonio. Happy New Year, Martin. Nice to see you guys. So 2023. What's the and what are the releases that people are looking forward to this year, or what's your fantasy releases for this month? What would you like to see come out? For me, it would be well, I'm obviously looking forward to Lucas's Austrians and Bavarians. Bavarians in particular, because I've got an army of hacked 28mm Bavarians. They're actually very small and slight, so I think that usually I'll print these models at 100%. But I think for these, I might just knock it down a little bit, maybe 95%. Print them at that. They'll be a little spindly, but they'll match the ones that I've already done. So it's not a Lucas thing. It's a Hat Miniatures thing, really. But his Austrians, I'm also looking forward to as well. What other dream releases will I have? Well, I mean, those of you who see my video on what plastic box sets we need, Armed Civilians will be my favourite one out of that one. Or, as I say, French Light Infantry would be another one, particularly as I could then do the Irish using that box. Now, he's got a Q, this guy here. He's got a bow in the back of his head and like a pigtail. I've just painted over that with the blue, but that's not a problem. I can just pick it out when I go over with the white at the end. So there we go. He's got a sash on, I believe. Yeah, so he's a Rupert. He's an officer. Hence the Q, I suppose. Now, this guy's an interesting one. He's got a carbine. Has he got a carbine? No, he's got a musket with bayonet attached. Now, I believe that a certain number, sort of like half a squadron or something like that, of dragoons would have full muskets rather than just the carbine. That gives them a bit of extra range threat. And it means that from a Lord of the Sharp perspective, that this warband can just have a couple of guys that have got the extra range. They've got that 24-inch range instead of 18 inches that the carbine gives you. You're a young and 10 p.m. shocking. I don't feel young. No, I did stay up till midnight. I did. We watched the Hootenanny, which is there's a chap in the UK called Jules Holland. He's a jazz pianist, and he has all these sort of jazz friends on, which is what we normally watch, to be honest. Wasn't so good this year. He had there's a singer called Celeste he had on last year, and she's very, very good. But yeah, no one like that on it this year. Epic Battles Borodina. Oh yes, mate, that'd be absolutely epic. Well, yeah, epic as the name suggests. Would be really good. Yeah, and super obvious. One of the problems that the ones that I've printed off, the manufacturer who does them, he or the designer, he hasn't done any Russian command. Well, he hasn't done any command for anyone yet. So that's a bit of a shame. You know, high command. I'd love to see a 12mm Kutuzov, with his little, his little vignette with his feet on the drum and all that stuff. I think that'd be absolutely awesome in epic scale. Set for French style uniforms with Brigitte makes small German states. Yeah, that could be cool. Yeah. Oh yeah, no, you've got me thinking about Epic Battles Borodino now. That would be cool. There's also the 1813 book, which was announced at the Warlord Open Day, and I've not heard anything about it at all. So, was it 1813? I think it was 1813, and I've not heard anything about it since then. So I don't know what's going on with that. I remember at their 10th anniversary. Oh, this is going back some years now. They had loads of books that were ready to go, and I've not seen hide nor hair of those either. They had a 7 Years War book that was ready for publication, but nothing seems to have happened with that one, which is a bit of a shame because I quite like the 7 Years War. It's quite as good as Napoleonic Wars in my opinion, because it's a lot more formal. It's not quite got the personalities that the Napoleonic Wars have. But that said, it's the uniforms are absolutely gorgeous. All right, so there we go. We're actually cracking through these reasonably quickly. These contrast paints really nice on these metal Perry models. It's going into all the creases, and yeah, it's bringing out some lovely results. The key is going to be when I go back over and use the flat of the brush to pick out the lacing. I think that's where the models are really going to come to life, I think. Do you know Napoleonic War Total 3? You know, I do, and I've tried to play it a few times, and I can't play like a grand campaign. I can do, the Peninsular War or the Egyptian campaign, but the thing I really like about Total War is the grand campaign. And I want to play as Russia or whatever, and you can't do that. I've also played Darth Mod as well, his Napoleon Total War. That wasn't bad, but I've just started today actually. Warhammer Total War 3, I bought that a couple of days ago because it was, I think it had 10% off or 20% off or something. So yes, I just thought that today is Kislev. So I'm working my way towards getting some wing lancers and some bear riders, but I'm not quite there yet. Still, I'm mashing up some Skaven with my archers, so that's good enough. The point in Napoleon Total War 3 is the multiplayer. Oh right, okay. I've played some multiplayer on vanilla Napoleon Total War. The first time, because you get issued a random army. The first time I had Spanish, I absolutely thrashed some Prussian guy, which was nice. But yeah, I've had mixed success since. Let's put it that way. We'll just get this one in there. We're on 25 past 12. I'm on cooking duty again tonight, which is why I'm wrapping it up at 2 o'clock. I'm doing a beef stew, so it's going to need to go in the slow cooker. You can more or less play every region. Okay, well, I'll look into it a bit more then. Right, okay. Knowing that it's the multiplayer, then I might look into that a little bit more. There we go. This guy's a lovely model as well. He's makes a nice corporal of horse, or just sort of, just a general NCO. Again, has he got the musket? I think he does. Yeah, he's got a musket as well. So that's quite nice. You get a second musketeer. And I suppose if you're doing a skirmish game, the guys with the muskets will be the ones more likely to be doing the skirmishing. That's why they've got the muskets, I suppose. So I don't mind that so much at all. So yeah, this guy could make quite a nice NCO. I might paint some chevrons on him when we get around to doing the finishing details. I'm not going to do the canteens. I'm going to do those a much lighter blue, almost like a sky blue. It'll help them stick out from the mid blue of the jackets, and they were a paler blue than the one I'm using here. So that'll be handy, I think. There we go. We had Zulu was on the telly yesterday as well here in the UK. I had to not watch it because if I did, I would want to be doing some Victorian era models. I still quite like the idea of having a World War 1880. So just having a free for all where you've got Zulu or British. That's another bugler. Zulu or British, or Mahdists, or American Civil War, Franco-Prussian, French and Prussians, Danes, Austrians, all these like fighting against each other. I think that'd be pretty cool. But I'd say you need a big group of people with all the different nations, I suppose. Crimean War Russians could be another one. You'd have to sort of mix it up a little bit, but it's not beyond the wits of man. People will play Macedonians versus ancient Egyptians and stuff like that. So ancient wargamers don't really seem to have a problem with it. But not wargamers who are ancient. The wargamers who wargame the ancient period. Although probably many of them are ancient as well, to be fair. The Zulu films must have sold a few figures over the years. Oh yeah, no, you are not kidding. Yeah. I think everyone who's got into wargaming must have seen Zulu. Similar to Waterloo. I can't imagine there's any Napoleonic wargamers out there that haven't seen Waterloo. I'm sure there are some, but there certainly shouldn't be, because it is a great film. I do in Art de la Guerre all the time. Well, exactly, Fiegel, yeah. So and no one ever bats an eyelid, do they? So I've got another one of my gazillion projects. So during the first lockdown, I put an order in with Peter Pig, We do some really nice 15mm Wars of the Roses, really nice 50mm Wars of the Roses. And I got the order, and they said, "Oh, as a thank you for ordering during the lockdown, your next order is 10% off." Well, it might have been 20% off actually. So I put in an absolutely humongous order after that, including a whole Parthian army for Art de la Guerre. I looked at them, I saw they had armored camel cataphracts. I was like, "Yep, I'm in, sold." And unfortunately, they're all still in the box they were delivered in, except for I have done my Art de la Guerre camp, which is a camel baggage caravan. So I've started the army. I've got the baggage in place, and the rest of the army can form from there, I suppose. Well, thank you for joining me, Piri. Don't get in trouble, but it's nice to have you here. We're in that. Hopefully, work's not too busy for you today. I'm lucky enough to have today and tomorrow off. I was hoping that the nurses would go on strike, but I could have another day off. But they're not, which is a bit annoying because I work in a dental hospital. It's they're not under the Royal College of Nursing. They're part of the I think it's the dental nurse school or something. So yeah, so they voted not to strike, which is very annoying because I was looking forward to a day off. I don't know. Right, so now this brush is beginning to splay at the end. This is quite an old brush. I do absolutely hammer this brush, so it might be on its way out for painting, which is why I'm getting it everywhere that I shouldn't be, really. Well, that and because I'm a terrible painter. But I could switch to one of my finer brushes. But when you're painting metal, it does actually rub the ends of the bristles off, so it can actually just completely obliterate brushes, which is why I tend to use older brushes, because obviously it doesn't matter so much if they're ruined, because they've already led a good life. So this guy's a bugler. This guy's a bugler. I've got 2 buglers there, which is probably more than I want, but it is what it is. This one is probably my favorite figure of the whole set. He's a guy who's ramming the charge down into his carbine. It's absolutely lovely. He's observing the enemy as he's doing it. He's not looking down. I mean, just the way they've modeled the hand on there, holding it, he's pushing it down. Really, really nice. He's in a nice static position as he's doing it, slightly leaning forward, which I like. No, I think this is an absolutely phenomenal model. I really, really like this one. And it's why I think the Perrys are amongst the best, because they do the poses that a lot of other manufacturers wouldn't necessarily think of. I do think this is changing. I think there's a lot of smaller designers out there that are perhaps taking their cues from the Perrys, or just perhaps as inventive as they are. Looking at the new Victrix plastics as well, they seem to be quite nice as well. But no, this one's an absolutely lovely model. I find with the Perrys, particularly in sets that are skirmishes, there's often 1 or 2 models per set that absolutely stand out. The British rifle officer who's like running forward with his sword out, he's a really nice one as well. In fact, the other officer in that set's quite a nice one. There we go. So yoink that in there. Right, so there we are. This is pretty much all the coat's done then. Let me just get over here, do his collar. Yeah, put it onto the strap there, but that's okay. This is why when I paint, I always go from the inside out. So I've got it on some of the straps and things like that, but it's not the end of the world, because we'll be able to touch that up. We'll go over it when we tidy up the straps. So there we go. That's a dozen of those done. Well, I say a dozen. 9 of them. 3 of them are not had their coats done yet. So now I'm going to go to do the flesh. Now, those of you who've not seen me do this before, what I tend to do is I re-undercoat them with Screaming Skull, or just an off-white. I could use Wraithbone, but I ummed and ahed about which one to use. I think the Screaming Skull is a little bit darker than the Wraithbone, and with them being in the desert, I think that's going to give a slightly better better effect. So bring that out there. Some on the old palette. Dab of water. Old Duncan will be proud. Now with these ones, like this guy here, I'm still not sure how I'm going to paint his uniform. I'm going to paint his skin coloured. So I know that for a fact. I can get that one done. We're good to go. Now I did have up here somewhere, and I think it's been thrown away perhaps, my hobby bingo card for last year. So I'll have to try and dig that one out. Now the officer, he'll have gloves on probably, so I'm not going to paint his hands because his hands will be white. The bugler potentially could. I'm probably going to do this guy without gloves because I think the flesh will contrast very nicely against the pistol that he's cocking there. Again, he's going to be in reverse colours, which is why I've not painted his jacket. He's got a bugle, but his skin's still going to be skin coloured, no matter what colours he's wearing. So there we are, and that's good. Now, very boring day. So okay, well that's good, Peary. That's good. That's what we like to hear. We don't want you to be too busy on New Year's Day. Benedict says, I don't usually like points, but the army book for Hail Caesar allows you to play mad what-if battles like Vikings against Parthians. Yeah, no, exactly, yeah. I think it comes out of the old WRG scene and the tournament scene for Ancients. There seems to have been far more than for any other period. And I think it's easier, isn't it? Because, you know, like your example there, your Vikings versus Parthians, it's just blokes with axes versus blokes with bows on a horse. So they could be Parthians, it could be Sasanians, it could be someone who actually did fight the Vikings from horseback, you know, if they were fighting for the Byzantines in particular. So yeah, I think that's there's a lot more acceptance of it in ancient and medieval wargaming than there is in Napoleonics. But I also think that's because the pace of technology and the pace of tactics were a lot slower back then. You know, I think you can fight, say, Imperial Romans versus Saxons, Anglo-Saxons would probably give you quite a good game. But if you had, say, Duke of Marlborough British versus Napoleon, then Napoleon should absolutely crush him and hardly take any casualties. So, or even, I mean, you could even go as far as to say, yeah, an 1800 or a 1796 army like the French had at Valmy. Yeah, imagine that fought a 1815 Prussian army or British army. Then that should be an absolute massacre. So I think the pace of warfare, the pace of change, wasn't as quick in the ancient world as it was in the early modern world. So that's probably why you can get away with it a bit more. Thoughts on French infantry hats? Do you prefer bicorns or shakos? Bicorn, says Imrahil. Shakos, though, bicorns were more worn were worn more than some people realise, I think. Yes, I think you're right, Martin. The bicorn, I mean, certainly if you think of Austerlitz, you don't think of bicorns, but that's what they would have worn. I really like the bicorns. In fact, my Egyptian campaign army is going to be mostly the bicorned Victrix. Now, there's some discussion about whether they wore bicorns in Egypt or not, but because they're a lot cheaper than buying them all in metal, I've decided that mine did. So, there you go. That's the basis of my history, where I've come down on that historically, because it's a lot cheaper to buy the plastics, particularly because the outposts have them in stock as well. They've mainly got them in stock because I keep buying them. I keep ordering them, so now they're a stock item. Them and Victrix British Heavy Dragoons. So check those out if you're looking for some Victrix stuff. It's not the full range. It's basically if they've got it in stock, it's because I've been buying it. So that's how that goes. Now, one thing that I've missed whilst doing this flesh is the bread bag. Now, the bread bag's not actually this yellow. It should be more of a khaki colour, but it's close enough, isn't it? It's close enough for government work. It saves me busting out another paint, although I do have this paint here. No, yeah, I'll do it the proper colour as I've got the paint here with me. So I'll go back and do those bread bags in a second. That's here for doing more Desert Storm action. That one, me and General Dan had a 1/300th game the other week, actually. He was using his British. I was using my West Germans. It's the first time I've used the West Germans. And he absolutely annihilated me. It was embarrassing. He absolutely thrashed my arse. It was, yeah, no, it was not great. It was not a good day to be a West German, that was for sure. Which is a shame, because I was using Leopard 2. Now, they are hugely overpointed. We were playing Team Yankee. They're playing it in 6mm. And they are massively overpointed, but they are such cool tanks. I like me a Leopard 2. So, but no, Dan played very, very well. And he absolutely slaughtered my West Germans. Paul, happy New Year, dude. I hope you've recovered from yesterday. Dad's still struggling. That's my brother. He'll be criticising my painting as well. He's right to do so. He's a much better painter than me. So if you've got any questions about painting, now's the time. If Paul's still around, he might be able to answer them. I think he's at work today, but he might be able to dip in and out. He's a much better printer than me as well. So again, if you've got any figure printing questions, he might be the guy to ask. Bicorns are far more comfortable. Yes, as sounds like a man speaking from experience there, Hill. Are you a reenactor as well? I did wear a Shako at the Waterloo 200th anniversary. I was chatting to some of the reenactors there, and one of them put a Shako on my head. It was a Young Guard Shako, so it had a big eagle on the front, and yeah, no, that was very, very front heavy. It was pretty awkward. I'm not going to lie. Warm though. Yeah, it was comfortable, but it was it sort of kept wanting to fall forward off your head. But obviously, because it was someone else's, I was quite keen to not let it happen. I didn't want to damage his Shako. There we are. So just go along with this. So yeah, live streams is something that I'm hoping perhaps in the summer to get back to doing. I'm gonna have to play it by ear, I'm afraid. I can't promise anything. But yeah, hopefully when the nights get a bit lighter, and there's that, we'll be able to do a bit more. Over bank holidays, I'm going to try and do some again. I used to do them over Easter quite extensively, because we've got like Easter bank holiday, and then you've got spring bank holiday and all that kind of stuff, May Day and all that kind of stuff. So over those bank holidays, I'll try and get to doing it then as well. The Wednesday evenings I used to really, really enjoy. I used to love Wednesday evenings, but it's a little bit more difficult these days. But no, but perhaps not impossible. Did I do that, Bugler? No, I've not done him yet. So you'll see I'm also rotating through the figures as well. So I'm doing the first one first, then the next one, and so on, which just means that by the time I get back to that figure, so by the time I'm doing this figure, his coat's fully dry. These contrast paints don't take very long to dry at all. And then he's good to go. I'm being a little bit sloppy with the bone here, because it doesn't hugely matter. I'm going to be covering everything with other colours, particularly metallics. I'll go straight over the undercoat anyway, so it doesn't hugely matter. Just pop them over there. Yes, I'm a reenactor of French Line Infantry 1803. Okay, so that's an interesting period. 1803 is that the camps at Bologna and the creation of the Grande Armée, I guess. Well, not the Grande Armée, but the yeah, no, it was a Grande Armée in 1805, wasn't it? Yeah. So, there we go. Let's get this done. I think his chords on his trumpet will probably be red, but I didn't bring a red up with me. That's a bit annoying. Well, he's got a Q at the back of his hair as well, so his hair's in a cool little pigtail. That's very common in the start of the Napoleonic Wars. So again, I think the Light Dragoon buglers probably had them through the whole war, but it certainly helps add them to the early war. So that's that done. Let's get the Karak stone out. Now this is going to be for the bread bags. As I say, I was going to do them with the bone, but as I've got this paint here, I may as well do that. So you see, this one's a lot browner. This one's a lot more like well, as I say, I was using it to highlight for a desert brown. So it's going to be quite a nice contrast with the other bright colours. There we go. It does look better than the bone would have done, to be fair. I'm very much not, oh, it's got to be the right tone. It's got to be the right shade of green or whatever. It's I know I had to go and get a different blue, but and that's quite a big difference whether it's like mid or dark blue. But as far as I'm concerned, a mid blue is a mid blue, a dark blue is a dark blue. I'm not going any more specific than that. They had quite a weird, like a lemon yellow almost, like a sort of sorbet yellow, as one of the regiments facing. So I might end up doing that one. I'm not sure yet. The bases, incidentally, now as I say, these are based as skirmishers. They're going to be based for Lord of the Sharp, but they're not on the same bases as Lord of the Rings have. They're actually only on 20mm round bases, whereas Lord of the Rings is on 25mm. Now, it shouldn't make too much difference, but the one big problem that it's going to make is going to make cavalry less powerful than they are in Lord of the Rings. Now, they're actually pretty powerful in Lord of the Rings, so I don't mind them being toned down a little. I worry that they're going to be toned down too much, though. But we'll find out through playtesting. But if you want to use 25mm bases as well, then that's going to be absolutely fine. In fact, I hope that some of you do, and we can get some feedback onto how it makes cavalry feel. The thing is, with the smaller bases, the cavalry is still going to be only able to contact one or two guys, but the enemy are going to be able to swarm them much easier with their smaller bases. So let's see. That said, it's going to be more difficult to trap them. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll have to see how it plays. Hello, Fernando. Just watching you put 2 drops of hand wash in my Vegemite water jar there to wash your brushes. Yes, no, this brush is terrible. It does absolutely need a good thorough washing. I've got some brush soap. I'll use it at after the end of the broadcast. So one of the problems is my water is underneath the camera, so I can't wash them as vigorously as I normally would, because I'll be poking the camera with the brush. There we go. And then last but not least, old Lodi man. There we are. But it's nice to see you, Rusty. Greetings from the UK. It must be quite late down there. Is it the early evening down there? You had your New Year's Eve celebrations really ages ago. If your cavalry gets swarmed, you don't have enough cavalry. Well, that's true. That's true. Speaking as a Easterling and Far Harad player, yeah, I could not agree more. You always need more cavalry. Right, so that's a lot of the base coats done. We've got the jacket done. We've got the flesh undercoated, and we've got the bread bags done. So what I'm going to do now is we're going to do the black. So that's going to be the boots. That's going to be the Tarleton helmets, and it's going to be the what do you call them? The saber-tashes of the officers as well. So he's already been done. I did miss a big chunk of his boots, so I'll have to do a bit more on him anyway. The idea here is just to block all of the black stuff in with the dyeing brush, so I can be fairly rough with this, and we'll be good to go. Again, with this chap, I'm still not 100% certain about him, but I'll do his boots black anyway, because he's probably going to have black boots. The absolute worst fail I did when painting was I had some Austrian Chevalier, and I'd painted them white. So I'd done, like, this was before the contrasts as well. So I'd started them off as grey and then worked them up to white. I was pretty pleased with them. And I was reading that the Chevalier and the Dragoons were basically exactly the same, but the Chevalier wore green. So I was like, okay, well, that's not too bad. What I'll do is I'll just paint some of these guys green, and then I can have the units easily differentiatable on the tabletop. So I painted them green, and I was like, yeah, no, that's cool. And then I read that they didn't go green until 1810, and I was doing them for the 1809 campaign. So I was like, shit, well, I'm not painting them black. I'm not painting them white again. They can stay green. So yeah, so that's the biggest mistake I ever made when painting models, because I spent ages painting the white as well. I wasn't too gutted to go over with the green, because I was like, well, the highlights of the white will make the green much easier to highlight, because it'll shine through, which it did. So I didn't mind that so much. But I wasn't going from green back to white again. Sod that noise. It's 11:30 p.m. and still 25 degrees. Blimey, Charlie. Yeah, no, rather you than me, mate. I don't do the heat. Yeah, 25 degrees is a bit mad. You're well ahead of the world when the party starts. Yeah, absolutely. The old Sydney Harbour fireworks are always some of the first ones. Is it Tonga, I think, is it, that has the very first ones? It's one of those little Pacific islands, anyway. Right, that's cool. Now they've got like a turban on around the helmet. I'm going to try not to paint it, but if I do paint it, it's not necessarily the end of the world, because I'm going to have to go back over it anyway. But if I don't paint it, I'll probably be able to do it in one layer rather than two. So it just becomes a question of, is painting around it going to take more time than just re-undercoating it and then going from there? Probably not. It's probably not going to be too bad. Let's see. Oh dear. Yeah, I've gone onto it there. You know what? I'm just going to paint it, and then I'll go back over it. I'll save messing around and worrying about if I've got paint on it or not. So the plumes are going to be largely white. These things here, they're going to be largely white, but I believe that the buglers will have had red ones. I'm not sure about the officers, so I'm just leaving them for now. Now, I'm not hugely impressed with the coverage of this black on the tarletans. What I might do is let it dry and go over it again. Let's see, the officer here, I painted him absolute yonks ago, so he's dried. I might go over the bush, which is the big fairy bit on the top. I might go over that twice. Leave the actual hat itself just once, which will make it look a little sort of less dark black. So, because it's boiled leather, so it should look a little sort of greyish rather than the black. But the bush is dyed black, so that should be very dark. So there we go. Hopefully, I think that should look a bit better. Once the turban's done, it'll look even better, I'm sure. So I missed that bit there. Let's go back over this guy's bush, as it were. Giggity. There we go. So who's got advice on painting 12mm tartan then? How am I going to do that? The 2 battalions I think I'm probably going to do will be... Oh, the other reason I got the Highlanders is because you can use them in the Peninsula as well, as is. But yeah, the 2 battalions I'm thinking of doing are going to be the Black Watch, because you've got to do the Black Watch, haven't you? And well, I've actually got 3 battalions, haven't I? So I can do the Black Watch, the Argyle and Southern Highlanders. Now, in the Peninsula, they had an absolutely humongous battalion. At the Battle of Fuentes Donero, they had it was about 890 men. their battalion. Now, admittedly, their paper strength is 1,000, but they're rocking 800, no, nearly 900 men, and everyone else is running around with maybe 300. So yeah, so they've got. So I'll be doing those guys. Now I may end up combining the second, the third unit in the box, and just having one massive unit of Argyles. So I might do that. But if I do the 3rd regiment, I don't know, is it the 94th, I think, who are Highlanders as well? I'm not 100% sure. I think they're the ones with the yellow. Or is that the Argyles? No, the Argyles are yellow. I think the 94th, they're the ones with the red tartan. I'm not 100% sure. I'll have to do some investigating. I can recommend a great commission painter for Tar. Well, that's true. That is true. I don't know, though. Would it kill him? Oh, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. He quite likes his Scots, doesn't he? So he might be all right. He might do it at a discount as well because they're Scottish. I don't know. I can always ask him. So Tonga is fine in the Pacific, and the date line's built around. Oh, right, okay. They had. Oh, right, okay. They had an almighty volcano bang heard in northern Australia. They were part of last year. Blimey. Oh, okay. Ooh. Yes, no. 2022 was not one to write home about, was it? It was, of course, the volcano that was responsible for Napoleon losing the Battle of Waterloo. There you go. If you what was the volcano that erupted? Mount Tambora, wasn't it? It erupted in 1814 and led to the wet summer of 1815. And also, apparently, there was a massive famine in Europe that year as well. Or was it 1816? And yeah, it was a good job that the Napoleonic Wars were over, because that would have made it even worse. I'm working on a tartan speed paint. Absolutely, yeah. That'd be the spice of the world. You get Paul Atreides coming to steal it. Keep it simple. I think less is more for tartan. Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, I think what I'll probably end up doing is painting them all for the Black Watch, painting them all blue, and then just doing very simple checks in green, slightly lighter than I would normally. Possibly using something like Lauren Forest, which is a Games Workshop paint. Because the models are so small, you need to use brighter colors than you would on a larger model, because otherwise they just won't stand out. But yeah, no, the Mount Tambora thing's really really interesting. It's there was a Geographics, which is another YouTube channel that I listen to. He did a video on it, and yeah, no, it's a fascinating thing. It shows how connected the world is ecosystem wise. So that's that. Now, I've been studiously avoiding the hair on a lot of them. Usually I just give all the guys black hair because it's just easy to do when you're doing the Shaco or the helmet or whatever. But with this being a skirmish game, I'm going to try and do some of them with either brown hair or blonde hair, just to differentiate them a little bit. But I'll worry about that when I come back to it. Again, if they all end up with black hair, it's not necessarily the end of the world. But it's easier to do when they've not got moustaches as well, because you don't have to match the moustache to the hair colour. And sometimes if you do give them all black hair and then black moustaches, they look a little bit like they should all be in the Village People. So I try and avoid doing that if I can. Where are we? There we are. That's his booties done. Very good. Now the scabbards, I'm going to do metal. I have seen British Heritage Rooms with black sword scabbards, possibly in tropical places. Obviously, your metal scabbard is going to get very hot. So I've said that. I suppose your black one would as well. But I am going to do mine metal. But as I say, I have seen them black. I'm not sure who or why that was, but it could have been a mistake. I don't know. But I have seen them done black. But I'm going to I'm going to do mine steel. Yeah, now the tartan's an interesting one. I've painted 2 battalions in 28mm using the tartan, and that was a little bit more involved. That had the check and the small squares inside the checks. I'm sure there's a more technical term for it than that. But yeah, no, on the 12mm stuff, then no, there's no way I'm doing any of that. It'll just get the checker pattern, I think, of the tartan on there. Again, I think it's more about an impressionistic view of them rather than having each individual one. Now, one thing I will say is if you do get a chance to go to Nottingham and you get a chance to go to the Warlord headquarters, which is like a stone's throw from Warhammer World now. It used to be quite a distance away. It used to be a really nice Art Deco factory. It was a gorgeous build. It really was. I mean, I like Art Deco anyway, so I would say that. But it was absolutely gorgeous. They've moved out of there into just basically like a giant aluminium shed, which is a bit of a shame. But it is the other side of the bridge from Warhammer World, so it's very, very close now. But if you do get a chance to go, they've got the models in some big cabinets, and they're whoever's painted their epic stuff, my lord alive, it's absolutely gorgeous. They've done a phenomenal job of it. I don't know who it is. I don't know if you watch the channel. If you do watch the channel, then shout out. Let us know, because you are some talent. That is for definite. Now, they're really, really nice. If you get a chance, then definitely pop in and have a look. It's not the world's greatest wargaming experience in that shop. I'm not going to lie, but yeah, it's definitely worth a pop in if you're in the area. But I wouldn't go to Nottingham just to go to it. Dale says it's about contrast and layering correctly for best results. Yes, no, I agree. Are we talking? Are we still talking tartan? Yes, no, I agree. I think it's about having that slightly lighter colour than you would normally use, and that's why I think the Black Watch tartan I always find a little bit disappointing. I always think it doesn't look that good, and that's because it's reasonably dark, I think. Certainly compared to the Argyles, who have the yellow in their tartan. Let me have a look to see if it's on the thing here. The Rossshire Buffs are Highlanders as well. I don't know what colour their tartan was, but I might have to have a look into that. And the Gordon Highlanders, of course. Yeah, we've got the Gordons. I think that's my tartan actually, is the Gordons. The Richardson tartan. Not that there's we've really got a tartan, but I went to so just next to Edinburgh Castle, there's like a big sort of Scottish tat emporium. It's pretty good actually. But upstairs they've got a thing about all your every surname with the tartan for your family, which is pretty cool. But what I will say is that I had the best latte I think I've ever drunk in that coffee shop. Oh, it was absolutely incredible. So there, that's highly recommended. Forget the tartan, just going for the coffee. That was really, really nice. But I was hoping to do a live stream from Edinburgh Castle, but I couldn't really get it to set up, which was a bit of a shame. But if you've not been, I can highly recommend going. It's got Sergeant Hewitt's eagle in there, and his the flag as well. The flag's very faded now, but his sarcophagus is in the car park out at the front of the castle as well. So he was an ensign by the time he died. But we also went for a pizza in the Sergeant Hewitt pub, which is on the Royal Mile. He was an interesting chap. Apparently, he was sort of paraded around, and he'd get brought out at dinner parties, but he wasn't of that class, shall we say. So he found it very difficult to to live with his fame after Waterloo, apparently. A bit of a tragic tale for him, really. So there we go. Just grab his hair. He's going to have black hair. That's him sorted. And the musket guy, he looks like he's giving an order. So it could be that the NCOs had the muskets then. Again, I'm not going to worry about the turbine here. I can paint over that at a later date. One of the armies I'm converting up for Lord of the Sharp is going to be the Loop Brigade from Sharp's company. That's that's what I'm building towards for an initial 2 armies for playtesting. So there'll be some, it's a mixed brigade, it's a legion of cavalry, some hussars, some light infantry, and obviously they'll be facing off against the rifles, the Royal Irish Guards Regiment, and the 33rd of Foot as well, just sort of general redcoats. So it should give a nice nice variety of units. And you've got some of the coolest baddies in my opinion. You've got Brigadier Lou, who's super cool. You've got the woman who's like the traitor. So she's going to play quite similarly to Grima Wormtongue does in Lord of the Rings. So yeah, no, that's where we're heading forward. I won't be selling them or anything. I'll just be they'll be there to download. I'm not sure if you can sell them, to be honest, because they'll be copyright Games Workshop perhaps. But yeah, no, they'll be. I wouldn't sell them anyway. They'll just be available for downloading. There we go. Now, one thing that I've not been painting is the cartridge boxes. So I should probably start doing that, shouldn't I? This is what happens when you start with the officer and you don't think about it. There we go. Let's get your cartridge box done. Now these guys have got a lot of straps on them because I suppose they've got sort of hang down when they're mounted, but they've got to sort of hike it up when they're on foot. So that's why there's all these loose straps hanging around everywhere. But they're going to look a little bit messy, I think, when they're finished, because they're just going to have white straps going all over the place. There we go. Got a bit of black on the white there, not to worry. He's got his very high up his back there. But no, I think that's, again, the Perry's really putting a lot of thought into the models. It wouldn't surprise me, actually, if they didn't get a reenactor to model the equipment for them while they took pictures. Just so they know, like, the correct height to get the cartridge box and things like that. And that's certainly the level of detail they go into. There we go. And then this guy, has he got a cartridge box as well? He does. There we are. Major Clanger says, hi from Huddersfield. I'm painting World War II Perry Dax and Richard 28mm. Ah, very cool. Is that Africa Corps for the Germans? So my brother's working on some Germans at the moment, actually. I've been busily using my US against him. So we've been started playing Bolt Action. He's I think he's enjoying it, so that's quite good. Something a bit different. So just researching this, may not be 100%, but Pack's 9th Brigade, 42nd green drum, greenish tartan, yep, 92nd yellow drum with a yellow stitch, and the 1st Royal blue drum with facings, not tartan wearing. Oh, right, okay, well, that's fair enough then. So that's a nice mixed brigade that you could get going on there. If I'd known that, I probably would have painted that free unit I had with the blue. I guess I could always go back and paint them blue, I suppose. But yeah, no, the epic stuff's not going to be the focus of this year. It's just going to be sort of now and then plinking away at it. These Russians I'm quite excited about. The ones I've printed, they didn't print very well, unfortunately. The models are okay, but the bases are all messed up. So I'm not entirely sure what went on there. I'll have to perhaps re-support them. Because one of the things I didn't like is that they didn't come supported. Now, anyone who's designing 3D models and gives them away for free, fair enough. But if you're selling them, then I do have an expectation that they are supported. Maybe that's just me being entitled, but you know, if it's free, fair enough. You know, it's free. I can't expect you to support the models as well. But if you're selling me models, then I expect them to be supported as well. I know some people like them unsupported. That's fine. But I don't. I like mine supported. So there you go. That's my my rant of the week. Yes, Deutsche Afrika Corps, Germans with Blitzkrieg miniatures using the battle group rules. Okay, fair enough. Blitzkrieg model tanks. Ah, very nice. Okay. I thought they were 20 mil, but obviously not. So that's interesting. I might have a look at those then. I've not played Battle Group in a long time. I played their modern version, which is called Northag, is it? I played those. They were interesting. I liked the deployment, the way all that worked. But the actual rules themselves, I didn't find them any different from any of the other sets of rules. Which is, I mean, that's no criticism. There's only so much you can do, isn't there? I guess. But no, that's cool. I like the battle group rules. Hello, Brush and Quill. Nice to see you, buddy. Ben Lowry, hello from Tennessee. Hello to you, sir. I hope you're nice and warm now. I don't know. Did the cold, was it the cold bomb or something? Did it reach Tennessee? I think it did. But I hope you and everyone you know is okay, because I did not fancy that at all. Apparently, it was colder than the surface of Mars at one point, which is pretty cold. So no, I hope you're okay, buddy. There we are. Just rushing a little bit there, which I shouldn't be doing. So just calm down a bit. There we are. It's why I say my favourite figure to last, because then I'll try. It's still below zero, is it there? Well, buy me. Okay. Well, stay safe, buddy. Oh, last week. All right. Okay. Yeah, good. Yeah, we're. I know the prices in America have gone up, but here in the UK we're having a real problem with the prices of heating, so or just energy in general. So I hope it's not been too bad for you. Uh, 65. Oh, that's not bad then. Hopefully you're going to get the Indians for 1803. Oh, nice. The Battle of Versailles. That's cool. That is cool. Something a little bit different. I've got some Bombay Grenadiers, actually. I bought a long time ago. I think they're all still in the packets, actually. Watching their snowstorm made me think that it was hot here the other day. It would have boiled the snow. Yes, no, it's I still can't get over the fact that Australia has like summer Barbies for Christmas. It's still very odd to me. Okay, so I've got most of the black done there. I don't think I need to go back on anyone, so that's cool. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to do the flesh. The reason I did the black first was because I guess I could have done the flesh first, couldn't I? But it was just to stop me getting the flesh on where the black is. So there you go. Just missed a little bit on the rim of his helmet. I have to run the cold water for minutes to run the... With naps, I always find the straps that make me feel they are close. Yeah, I always do the straps last. That's my favorite. But they do look a bit like the travel battle figures, actually, don't they? In fact, there's five on a row there. They're really nice. I'm really pleased with them. I need to, when I crack open my new brush, I need to get the tassels done across the Shakos. But no, I'm really pleased with them, actually. I think they're looking really nice. I'm looking forward to getting them on a base and all sorted and finished. That will hopefully be the first of many battalions to come. I have a lot of Hat and Italieri figures, but don't know any rules to play. Oh, right. Well, the worst, I think the worst question you can ask anyone on a Napoleonic forum is what are the best rules for Napoleonic wargaming? Honestly, it's just I see people do it, and I know they do it with good intentions, but it always turns into an absolute horror show. So I think the rules. I mean, I play Black Powder. I don't think they're the best rules out there necessarily. I certainly don't think they're perfect, but I think there's a lot of variation in them that you can have, so you can really differentiate between the armies, which means they're not just different coloured playing pieces. And I quite like that. Coming in from like a Warhammer fantasy background, that really appeals to me because I like my armies to be different. But there are a lot of people who would argue that what's the big one at the moment? Is it Napoleon at War was a reasonably popular set. I don't think that's still going though. Shako was one that I quite liked, but that's pretty old now. There's a new one out. I'm trying to remember what it's called. No, look, it may come to me. There's Absolute Emperor, which is a set from Osprey. Now I've not played those, but I played their 70s War ones, which are they're over there. I should be able to see. No, I can't. Oh no, there they are. No, they're not over there. They are over there. Honours of War was the 7 Years War one. That was pretty good. It was quite slow. Not the game wasn't slow, but sort of units were quite slow, which is what they were like in the 7 Years War. So it's not the end of the world. You haven't missed the bonies yet, Brush and Quill. I'm still working on those. To be honest, I didn't have as much time over Christmas as I thought I would. But what I thought with the bonies is I'll have them ready for award season. So when the Oscars, they're like February time, aren't they? So I think the bonies will come out in February. Valor and Fortitude, that's the one I was thinking of. Yes, that's the one. They seem to be quite popular. They're written by Jervis Johnson, who wrote the last edition of Warhammer. I'm not a massive Jervis Johnson fan, I have to say, because he also wrote Age of Sigmar, so we're not going to go into that here. But I think he does his best work when he is able to bounce his ideas off other more talented people, shall we say. So that's me being very polite. People like Andy Chambers or what's his name? The guy who did Hail Caesar. Yeah. But that said, they seem to have been received pretty well. And they're free, so that's always a bonus as well. I haven't played them myself yet, but I probably will do at some point. We're quite looking forward to the new Hail Caesar, actually. That's what we're doing this El Cid project for, is the to celebrate Hail Caesar Volume 2, which I actually really like Hail Caesar. I think Hail Caesar's like a more refined version of Black Powder, which is not entirely surprising because it came out afterwards. So Rick Priestley, that's the one I'm thinking of. Yes, thank you, Benedict. Yes. Rick Priestley, he's the guy. But, as I say, they seem to be very well received. So that might be me doing him down, which is I'm happy to say is me being wrong. If I'm wrong, that's fair enough. They certainly seem reasonably simple and popular. But for me, you can't really go wrong with Black Powder. They're not always the quickest to learn, I find. I mean, they're sort of marketed as being very simple. And they are to an extent, but there's a lot more depth to them once you start getting into them. And it's not just tactical depth; it's complexity as well. Yeah, sharp practice too. That's very good for skirmishes. Absolutely, sort of big skirmish games. You're looking at maybe 50 figures a side, which I guess for hat models or Zvezda and stuff like that, you know, that's a full box of figures, which is kind of what you want, isn't it? Really. So yeah, no, that's true. Or lest we forget the upcoming Lord of the Sharp as well. That I'll be releasing. All right, so that's another one there. So we're cracking through these. There's not actually that much flesh on them, so this is a nice, quick and easy, procedure. This one. What time are we on? So it's 1:30. So I've got half an hour left. What I think I'm going to do is I think we will finish the flesh. I've got about half a dozen more to do. And then we'll do the muskets. And then we're probably going to have to knock it on the head, I'm afraid. One thing that I should say is the what's the word I'm thinking of? The schedule. That's the word I'm thinking of for this month. So I'm going to do a video this Sunday, so a week today. That's going to be the announcement of the winner of the Advent calendar prize. I might do a quick model review or something as well on that one as well. Seems a bit of a waste just to jump on that. I might do that as a live stream as well. So I'll pop a message on a post on YouTube about that one. I'll probably do it as a live stream. Then we can talk about a box. I might review the Victrix Heavy Dragoons actually, because I've just picked those up. So yeah, there you go. So next Sunday we'll have a look at the Victrix Heavy Dragoons and the winner of the Advent calendar. Then I'm going to go on a bit of a break. So I'm actually away the following weekend. I'm away in London for that weekend. And then I'm away the weekend after that as well for a friend's birthday. So I might take the rest of January off, perhaps even the first week of February as well. We will come back with the bonies, either the first or second week of February, and then we can move on from there. So I'm still... Sorry, just give me a second. So I'm still very keen for the bonies to go ahead, because I think there are people who are not always part of the mainstream, shall we say, who don't get recognition that they deserve. Particularly, I'm thinking of other YouTubers. I don't see them spoken about at all in Wargames Illustrated or Miniature War Games, anything like that, which I can understand to an extent, because to an extent we are their rivals. But I don't think we are really, because just because you watch a battle report of, say, Bolt Action on YouTube, doesn't surely to me that means that you're more likely to buy a Wargames Illustrated than less likely. But I mean, what do I know? I'm not a very good businessman. But yeah, I don't know. I think that seems an odd one to me. So yeah, so I'm very keen to get the bonies done. Mark from New Zealand on his blog Chasseur has some rules called Fast Play Napoleonic rules. Are they by Newbury, those ones? Because I think I've got a set of those somewhere as well. They are very good. They're very 1980s. Let me get this guy done. This guy has a weird face. He's obviously been too close to the fire, this guy. There we go. Hey, you guys. Yeah, he's a nice pose. The face is not one of the Perry's best, I have to say. I also think their buttons are going to be metal as well. I think they had tin buttons rather than brass, but I'm not 100% sure about that. Also, as well, if they're in Egypt, they may potentially have worn tropical service helmets as well instead of the Tarletons. But hey, they're Tarletons. If Tarletons are an option, then that's the option I'm always going to take. There's a big bit lump missing from the front of his head. So we're going to do the last one for the flesh. He's the one who's just like patrolling forward. Then we're going to crack on with the carbines and the muskets. Then I think we're probably going to have to knock it on the head. Only his own name is credited by. Oh, right, okay, well, fair enough. And if they're his own set, that's cool. I was talking about a set of rules called Forager in my Irish regiment video. Never played it, but that's another set of rules that's out there. It didn't particularly catch on, I don't think. But I'm sure they're good. I have French Dutch infantry, Belgian infantry, light British infantry, Prussian light cavalry, and some light and heavy cannon. Oh, okay, yeah, fair enough. Actually, sometimes your post feature stuff in photos. Yes, no. I do that, and to be honest, I should credit them more. But yes, I have seen this stuff. I just didn't realise that he had his own rules. That's cool. Yeah, using that, Dale. It looks like you've got quite a good mix there. I'd recommend giving. I mean, if you're wanting a skirmish game, then I hear really good things about Sharp Practice. I've played it a couple of times, and we thought we knew what we were doing, but we didn't really. So the games were not that good. But that's not because of the rules. I should really quickly point out that's because the guy who was teaching me said he knew the rules, and I don't think he did. But I don't mean that in a horrible way. I think he was just excited to get them playing, and he wasn't perhaps with au fait with them as he thought he was. But I have heard they are very good, so I would give them a go. If you want a massed battle game, then honestly, I think you can do a lot worse than going for Black Powder. Especially if you like to get a game done in an evening. I think that's where Black Powder really shines. You can have those big games and you can get them done in 2 or 3 hours. Unlike a lot of the other games where you can play for 12 hours and still not finish. I'm a results guy, what can I say? So there we go. I've done with these pistols, I'm probably going to end up doing more than I need to with the metal, but with the wood, but the metal is going to go over the wood anyway. And the metal will cover the wood quite nicely. Now the brown I'm using here is Gore Grunter Fur. Now I really like Gore Grunter for muskets because it gives it that waxed, polished look. Whereas I find Wildwood, which is their wood brown, it's far too dark. It's far too cold. This is quite a warm brown. And when you go to, say, the Royal Armouries or something like that, and you see the muskets on display in there, now, okay, they've been prepped for display rather than in the field. But, they're that really nice, rich wood that's obviously been waxed. So that's what I like to go for with my muskets on these units here. So that's why I'm using Gore Grunter as opposed to Wildwood, which, as I say, that's more the wood colour. Crack this on down there, down in between his legs. Get the lock painted there. As I say, I've gone over bits that I know are going to be metal, but it's not necessarily the end of the world because I know the metal is going to cover it quite nicely anyway. So we'll put second coat on this. It's a bit pale. There we are. No worries. I mean, it's one of those things. It's there are just so many out there that it really does depend on what you're looking for. But you don't really know what you're looking for until you found it. I often find so it is a tough one. But to be perfectly honest, the vast majority of the rules, I think, they're basically all the same anyway. They're all, your figures move a certain number of inches, they fire a certain number of inches, they roll this many dice in combat, and it just then becomes a question of which ones you like. The biggest difference, I think, and I did a video on this called different scales in wargaming, and people thought I was talking about the people thought I was talking about the scale of figures, which I thought they would. It wasn't the best title of the video, to be honest. But I was talking about the difference between a brigade level game where you command a brigade, or an army level game where you're Napoleon, or a skirmish level game where you're a sergeant or a subaltern or something like that. So it depends on what type of game you want as well, I think. No, they're not Damjan. They are dismounted British Light Dragoons. So I'm going to be from the Perrys. I'm going to be using them for Egypt and for skirmish games. But I mean, the helmets do very much look like Bavarians. They're the Tarleton helmets, so they're actually dismounted cavalry. These guys. Which reminds me, I've got another box of Perry British Light Dragoons. Actually, I could do with painting those up. Right, so that one's on there. Have a quick look. Batwatch, I think I like. Quick game. Yeah, I mean, I think Black Powder might help you out with that one then. But that is an army level game, so you might find it easier to either. I mean, you can always have 6 models or a battalion or whatever. It doesn't have to be 24 or 36. Yeah, so you can always try that out. Now I'm going to give this guy some brown hair while I'm doing the carbine. I think I've already done half his hair black now. Never mind. I'm going to have to go back and do his hair later. I want some 3D printed Prussians. Okay. Yeah. I think they're out there. Maybe. I don't know. You know my thoughts on Prussians. No, thank you, Damjan. Thank you for watching them. There's no point in me doing the videos if no one's watching them. Well, no, there is, but it's much more satisfying when people do watch them. So thank you very much, buddy. And yeah, they're coming along, aren't they? They're hopefully not going to look too bad. They'll be ready to get some roof tiles thrown at them by Egyptian civilians as they're attacking the village. Here we go. I had a guy who commented on my Muhammad Ali Pasha video, complaining why I didn't say he was Albanian, which I'm like, I'm pretty sure I did say that for about 20 minutes, but never mind. But yeah, so these came out of me reading, doing the research for that video, and the expedition, the name of which escapes me. I want to say the McDonald expedition. I don't think it was McDonald. It was something else, where they went to, they were going to attack the Ottomans, and as they tried to sail up to the Bosphorus, they got defeated by the Dardanelles gun, amongst other things. So they decided to divert and try and conquer Egypt, weirdly. And it did not go well for them. They got surrounded in a village and massacred. So, yeah, not the best for them. Are you doing any horses with the dismounted dragoons? I mean, I wasn't going to. I might end up doing some. Yeah, no, I hadn't thought about that, actually. I think Brigade Games might do some dismounted British, like some horses being held by a dragoon. Yeah, he's holding like 4 horses or whatever. So yeah, I might look into that, actually. Darren's just saying we have 6 to 10 guys play from 11 AM to 5 PM and get an outcome. Yeah, no, that's good. Yeah. No, I mean, Black Powder is definitely a game that you can get done in a day. I think the other thing as well, Dale, would be to ask, are there any other players in your area, and if so, what rules do they use? Because it can be that you're best off playing a game with a set of rules that you only sort of 80% like, but you're still getting a game in, rather than saying I don't like those rules and then not playing at all. So for me, I just like playing the games. Egypt is definitely one of the most overlooked campaigns for me, probably because I'm doing an 1813 Prussian-Russian army. Well, that's fair enough. Yeah. Well, with the new 1813 book that's due out this year, I can see myself doing a Swedish army actually, under old Marshal Bernadotte, the traitor. But I don't know. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what 1813 brings. It's an interesting book to do. It's not one that I would have done. But that said, I did a video saying, this is why I think it was a bad idea. And I got a lot of pushback on that. A lot of people are saying they're really looking forward to it. They think it's a great period. So, you know what? Fair enough. Maybe Warlord have got their finger on the pulse and they know what they're doing. It's certainly going to be interesting to see how it's differentiated from Clash of Eagles, I think. But yeah, no, I mean, any content is good. So whether it's 1813, 1805, 1798, whatever. So there we go. What time are we on? We're on 1:45. Don't think I've got time to do the metal. Maybe I do. Let's have a quick go. Even if I don't do them all, we can get some done, can't we? So this is going to be the metal on the muskets and the swords. Now, I could also do the buttons here as well, but I'm using this brush that's not the best. So I might not bother, and I might wait till I've swapped out to my my new brush and do the buttons then. Yeah, no, I will do. Yeah. So I'm going on pretty thick with the metal because there's not a huge amount of danger of me getting it where it shouldn't be, and I can then use the metal I've put on as a bit of a almost like a bit of a palette to just spread it there. So I'll get it there, save a bit of time that way. There as well. Do the collar, the bayonet fits too. And then we can get the bayonet done as well. Is that on camera? Yes, it is. So that's that one done there. We'll just do the back of his scabbard. There we go. He's a lovely model. I really like him shouting the order. Let's go and just make sure that the contrast's dry. It is on this guy. There's also this little thing at the front on the carbines as well, which is where it hangs on. So I'm going to make sure I paint that metal as well, just because it helps differentiate the fact that it's a carbine. Now, some of this furniture is probably going to be brass, but I'm just going to paint it steel for now. I can always do the brass over the top. Paint the hook on the other side. Yeah. I just like the 1813 uniforms. It's fair enough. Yeah. That's for me the absolute best reason for painting models, because you like the uniform. Yeah, absolutely. Still like them best of all periods, but if I had a choice, I'd do something around 1805 when the Elan still carried the day over levy spam. Yeah, no, that's well, I mean, again, the Prussian 1806 uniforms are pretty spectacular as well, aren't they? But yeah, I mean, they're all interesting. All these sub periods are interesting for different ways, aren't they? All right, Rusty. Well, I'm going to be signing off in about 10 minutes anyway. But thank you for your company. I hope you've had a good New Year's Day, and I hope to see you next time, my friend. All right, there we are. I just noticed I missed a little bit on his plume. So, hello, Bub Creature. nice to see you, buddy. I feel guilty now that I'm going to be disappearing in 10 minutes, but it's nice to see you, bro. It's nice to have you here. Thank you for dropping in. What we're doing today is we're just doing some British dismounted light dragoons. I'm just doing the metal work on them at the moment, so it's things like sword scabbards, pistol barrels or carbine barrels, things like that. Yeah, just knock the camera because that's the kind of professional that I am. He's got his saber tash here. That's going to have an emblem on it, so I'll paint that. I'll paint that later on with a symbol on. I'm not entirely sure what British saber tashes look like, to be honest, but I'm sure I've got some research material that I can check. Got a little hook on his pistol as well. That's nice. Get that done. Show you the end. There you go. Have I done his whole scabbard? I have. Right, cool. Oh, so we got 10 minutes left. I easily got time to do all the metal on here. I didn't think I would. But I'm absolutely motoring through this, aren't I? Thanks, bub. That's fine. I spent most of the night on the stream. Oh, right. I guess like that, is it? Okay. Yeah. No, I understand. Nah, I'm joking, mate. It's nice to see you here at all, mate. I just want to thank everyone for joining me on this live stream, particularly those of you who join me on most of them. It's always a pleasure to hang out with you guys. It really helps me and gets me motivated. So thank you very much, and thank you for your support over the last year as well. It's just had a big spider in my painting show. Okay, well that's fair enough. I'll let you off with that one as well. So, but no, I just want to thank you very much for the support and the encouragement that everyone's given me over this last year as well. It's not been the easiest year. I'm not going to lie, but and thank you. I've taken quite a lot of time out. I've been quite slow getting content out, but I just want to thank everyone for being so understanding, being so patient, and not being angry with me for not getting it out on time. So thank you so much for that, and I hope that going forward I can repay that by actually getting some content out on time. The thing I'm looking forward to at the moment, I'm researching it. I haven't written it yet, but I am working on the Irish Regiment Part 3. So hopefully that's going to be the return when I come back in February. We'll have the Bonies and we'll have the Part 3 of the Irish Regiment. And then I might be able to finish some of the other ones that I've not finished, like the Swiss and the Brunswicks. The problem is with the Brunswickers, okay, is I've done I've done the boring episodes, and it turns out that they're really not boring at all. But we're coming up to the 100 days, and the 100 days is an absolute crazy time for them. So I know there's a lot to come. That's what's been putting me off at the moment. Is I just know there's going to be tons of it out there, but I need to gird my loins and get on with it, because the Brunswickers are a really interesting nation, actually. How long do I need to paint one infantry battalion? So if we say a battalion's 24 models, if you say that they are not in greatcoats, so say they're in their full dress uniform, probably, I mean, if I'm not streaming, if I'm just sort of sat down and I'm smashing them out, probably 2 days, I can probably get them done in. If I sat down, for 16 hours over 2 days, I'd probably get that battalion of 24 figures out. I probably wouldn't have them based, but I'd have them glued to bases within 2 days, I reckon. Planning to 3 mil naps. Blimey, Charlie. That is very impressive. Might scale up to 50 mil for more detail. Yeah, no, that's fair enough. I mean, for me, I would be looking at the Warlord Epics, just because they're easy to get hold of and they're a nice. They are a nice scale at 12.5 mil. I do like 15 mil as well, though. Not gonna lie, I've got a humongous 50 mil collection. I'm sure will shock none of you. It's mostly from Essex Miniatures, so they're quite small 50 mil. In fact, they're not that much bigger than the Epic 12 mil. but they're super dumpy. They're not the world's best models, but they're so characterful. I absolutely love them. But yeah, I mean, yeah, 50 mil is good. 3 mil's insane. I think. Actually, I don't even know what anything is, but I do know people who play in 3 mil, and it actually does look very good once you've got the massed figures on the table. If you're interested in 3 mil or 15 mil, then a game system that I can recommend would be Blucher. It's called. So it uses cards, but you can quite easily you have them face down, so you don't know what the battalion is or how strong it is. But once you turn it face up, you could very easily replace that with a base of figures the same size as the card, and that could be the battalion. That's what I'd be looking at if I was going to do 2 mil or even 6 mil. I think I'd be looking at Blucher. It's surprisingly expensive because you have to buy the cards as well. But if you're in the States, they're done by Sam Mustafa, who is based out in the States, so it might be a bit easier and cheaper to get hold of over there. But yeah, no. Give Blucher a look if you want to do super small scale like that. Shipping to US from Warlord isn't great, even with the new. Is it not? Right. Okay. I mean, I don't know if there's stores over there that hold Warlord stuff, but yes, no. Blucher would be my suggestion if you're looking at smaller scale stuff. In fact, I may actually get more into Blucher this year. That might be something that I look at doing for more army scale games. I still love my Black Powder. I'll still be doing brigade and divisional level games with Black Powder, but for absolutely huge games, where we do throwing take Austerlitz or something like that, then yeah, Blucher might be the way to go for that one, I think. So this is The Last Man, The Last Waltz. I was going to sing a bit of Bruce Springsteen for you there for the last carnival, but I don't think you deserve that. I can't think of worse ways for people to have on their new year. But we are going to knock it on the head here. I'm just going to do the lock of his carbine. So there we are. Then I'll quickly run my brush along the barrel. So as I say, I'm not going to be around. I will be around next weekend. I'll do a video then. That'll be a live stream of the winners of the Advent Calendar Challenge, and also a review of Victrix British Heavy Dragoons. Then I'll be on hiatus for the rest of January and possibly the first week of February. Let me see what date the first week of February is. The 5th. I think I should be all right then. Again, I'm away that first week though. I'm thinking of going abroad that week. Depends on how the passports turn out. But that is it. Thank you, Shakos and Sprues. Nothing personal, bro, but I'm just about to head off now. Honestly, it's not nothing personal. But I want to say thank you once again. I want to say thank you very much for joining me today. And thank you for all your support over the last year. In the last 3 or 4 years, we finally reached 10,000 subs on the channel. So thank you very much to everyone who's subscribed and watches the videos recently. I think we've got quite a good session done there. These guys are really coming along. But thank you so much, guys. Shakers and Sprues. And I'm going to see you guys next time. It's been great. Let's hope that 2023 is a better year than 2022 was. Thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you guys next week.